We are mere weeks away from college basketball's March Madness, and with it, billions of dollars worth of wagers on the games. As more states legalize sports betting, Paul Salmon reports on worries that some colleges are too involved in its promotion, a particular concern since in all but 4 states, residents must be 21 years old to place a legal bet. This story's a partnership with the Shirley Povich Center for Sports Journalism and the Howard Center for Investigative Journalism, both at the University of Maryland's Merrill College of Journalism.
I'm winning, then, I feel like an idiot for not betting higher and betting more often.
Sal Malik betting on sports through an online bookie at his Texas college in 2017.
With my strategy, I can make hundreds of dollars in a minute.
Once, says Malik,
and I was up a few thousand credit that week, and I lost it all betting on someone in an individual tennis game, and I didn't even know if it was a man or a woman.
Eventually, he owed nearly 10 different bookies between $15,000 and $20,000. In 2018, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a ban on sports gambling, making it even easier to bet. More than 30 states have legalized sports gambling since, and enticing ads are now everywhere.
$200 instantly, just for betting $5.
Offering free first bets. And now 5 major colleges, Michigan State, LSU, Maryland, University of Denver, and the University of Colorado, have announced multi-year partnerships with sports betting companies that include placing ads at games, along with promises to, for example, focus on responsible gaming and education. Colorado was actually paid for bets made using a university promo code until that deal became public.
I think it's very scary.
Sports economist Andy Zimbalist.
There are many colleges now that are jumping into bed with sportsbook companies. They're allowing the sportsbook companies to come onto campus and to appeal to the students to get involved in gambling.
Hey, I gamble on sports. It can be fun, sometimes lots of fun. But, says Zimbalist,
6% of bettors tend to become problem or compulsive gamblers. We're talking about tens of thousands of students who are likely to become, or if they're not already, problem gamblers.
Students like these at the University of Maryland.
To introduce something like gambling on campus seems like putting kerosene on a fire.
If there is supposed to be some sort of educational aspect about betting cultures, the negative ramifications that betting can have on students, particularly at a young age, why aren't we seeing that side of a program?
Now, some Maryland students said they like the partnership, but not social work professor Greg Stewart.
I am concerned that certainly the state of Ohio has made this an option.
Stewart studies addiction at the University of Cincinnati in Ohio, where sports betting became legal last month.
It is so convenient for people to engage in this experience. The use of my phone, and I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to talk to anyone.
You could do it in class.
You could.
And as MIT finance professor Andy Lowe once told me,
neuroscientists have documented that the component of the brain that gets stimulated when we engage in financial rewards is really the same component that's stimulated by cocaine. It's the dopamine system.
We've seen a big spike since 2018 in risk for gambling problems.
Keith White is tracking that impact at the National Council on Problem Gambling, supported in part by the gaming industry.
Our national surveys between 2018 and 2021 show a roughly 30% increase in risk for gambling problems nationwide, but the majority of that increase in risk is among those young male online gamblers. People with gambling problems have much higher rates of substance use and abuse, but what we're really concerned about are things like the very, very high rate of depression amongst people with gambling problems, and also a very high rate of suicidal behavior.
College kids, especially young men, are more vulnerable than most because they think they know sports, they like risk, and they're comfortable doing everything on their phones.
Much of the promotion that the gaming companies have sought to bring to college campuses seems pretty clearly aimed at building new customers.
And that's the problem, says former Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels, who wouldn't allow any betting on Purdue University sports when he was, up until recently, president there.
Young people are facing more emotional and mental and psychological challenges, it appears, than they have before. At a minimum, schools should be careful not to be facilitating, enabling, and not, while they're doing so, profiting off the marketing that might spread this behavior further.
So, are they? All 5 universities declined our requests for interviews. University of Colorado sent a statement. Quote, "The last 2 years have demonstrated that the necessary safeguards are in place to ensure this agreement is beneficial and safe." The betting companies involved just didn't respond. But Martin Lechka of Europe's Entain did, and his is one of the world's largest gambling companies.
I strongly believe that any country, including the United States, is much better off having regulated this space and helped drive out the black market, the unlicensed bookmakers that afford their customers absolutely no protection tools, no nothing, than continuing to step in the dark.
If you were running a university now, would you invite in your company or another sports betting company, or would you say, no, too much risk, too many young people?
I definitely would, because the young people, we're filming this right after Super Bowl, so all of them arguably would have gotten exposed to gambling-related adverts in the TV coverage.
But does your company have any deals with universities to do advertising, sponsorship, and the like?
That's a categoric no. My company has no commercial partnerships with universities.
And will you never?
No, we never will, for those reasons that you have just alluded to, because a shattering majority of college students are underage. So they're under 21, and they've got nothing to do on the gambling side. So that is not our target audience, that is not the industry's target audience.
But how can it not be the target audience of firms that partner up? In which case, why should universities allow it? Well, says a former congressman,
I don't think you can stop sports betting on college campuses.
Also a former Maryland basketball star, Tom McMillan winces at the partnerships, like his own alma maters.
But this is unique America, that you're going to have betting on campuses, on events on campuses. And I think that there are risks to higher education with that, but it's almost inevitable. You have this huge sports enterprise on campuses across the country, and so universities are adopting it, much like they adopted beer drinking and liquor at football games.
As for Sal Malik, he went into rehab 4 years ago and is still in recovery, still paying off his debts, and more worried than ever about college kids like he once was.
It doesn't seem like you could just go off to college and lose your entire livelihood gambling, and you just don't know any better.
Until, for an estimated tens of thousands of U.S. undergrads a year, if all colleges were to follow suit, it will be too late. For the PBS NewsHour, Paul Salman.